Hey, welcome to another chapter of Old Man Brad. Whether you're new here or returning for another chapter, thank you so much for giving me a listen. And if you love the show, drop me a review over on your favorite podcatcher, whether that's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, wherever you listen to the show. I would love to hear what you think. All right, so this episode, I went to the theater to see a movie, and I wanted to bring a special guest on. Special guest that lives in my house. I'm bringing my wife, Kara, or as we like to call her, 24 karat gold in the house, to talk Lisa Frankenstein.
24 karat gold, y'all.
That's right. That's right. We haven't recorded anything in a long time. You and I, long ago. It feels like long ago.
Feels like it's been well over a year, maybe two.
It's been longer than that. We used to do a health journey podcast together called I'll Get a Burger, and we really fell off the rails in 2020, and it just kind of stopped.
We tried to get back on.
We tried.
At least I did get back on. You're still running behind the wagon.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about it. But when I saw the trailer for this and saw it was coming out, I was like, you know what? This is a perfect movie for you and I to go see, and you know what? Why don't you come on and talk about it? So
I need you all to understand, the first I was clued into all of this was maybe 24 hours ago.
No, it was at least 48.
Maybe. I'm fine with it, but yeah.
All right, let's talk Lisa Frankenstein.
I have so many thoughts about Lisa.
There's a young man. I talked to him. I wish I was with you. That's really weird, Lisa.
I'm the greatest God created, power tripping on the mission.
Taffy says it's a waste of time to try and fix up ways. Better just accept a guy's flaws.
Oh, that's so cute.
I can't do that. Not until we bury the body.
A coming-of-rage story about a teenager and her crush, who happens to be a corpse. After a set of horrific circumstances bring him back to life, the two embark on a journey to find love, happiness, and a few missing body parts. This is written by Diablo Cody, who you may know as the writer of Juno, and also did the horror film Jennifer's Body, and directed by Zelda Williams, the daughter of the late Robin Williams. And it stars Cole Sprouse and Catherine Newton. Right off the bat, I just want to say this movie was fun. It felt like, what if John Hughes made Edward Scissorhands?
That you can't see my face, but I'm shrugging, and yeah, that is a fairly accurate depiction of what this would be.
Before we dive into the spoilers, like, overall, did you enjoy the film? I know you and I were we haven't discussed this yet. This is the first time we have said anything about the film to each other.
We both agreed as we left the film, no talking till recording. That's all we said.
Save it for the podcast.
Exactly. So did I enjoy it? For the most part, yeah. I laughed out loud on more than one occasion.
Oh, yeah, same. We'll get into it here in a minute, but there are pieces that I wanted either more of or certain things that I kind of wish were a little different.
Agreed.
But overall, yes, I liked it. I'd probably a solid 3 out of 5. Like, it was good, but it wasn't great.
That is what I would have given it as well. A 3.
From here, we'll just dive into the movie. We'll dig into spoilers.
If you want to know whether or not you should see it pre-spoilers, if you want something that's going to make you feel nostalgic for all of the ridiculousness that was the 80s, because this is hardcore, definitely late 80s, early 90s. They've got the White Rain hairspray. They've got the blue eyeliner. They've got the, hey, we're goth. Hey, we're cheerleaders. Like, they do a good job of, this is right down to the mom and her Walkman. That gives nothing. That Walkman gives nothing away. Just every trope that you have known to grow and love about an 80s movie, especially a late 80s, early 90s movie, this one has it.
Yes.
So if you want that nostalgia, just go see it.
Yes.
You will laugh out loud.
Oh, you absolutely will. It's kind of silly. It's 80s. And there's a lot of it. You're just like, this is kind of how they did it in the movies. It's just ridiculous looking at it in this 2024 lens.
Oh, it completely ridiculous. This is also not a spoiler, but to me, I think that we have gotten so accustomed to movies having stuff going on constantly that there were times where it felt very slow to me.
Yes, I would agree with that. It was stepped back and tried to just kind of be. And I think that was some of my complaint.
That was absolutely some of my complaint, because where it stepped back and tried to just be, there was often some massive jump in character building, changing, shifting. I don't know how you'd even want to, I would say development, but it wasn't really development. It just left wanting a lot. And I think all of this happens over the span of 5 days?
It had to been pretty fast. It seemed like it went pretty quick. Like it starts out, we'll just kind of jump into it. Like I loved how it started out. It was like this animated sequence.
Okay, that was my number one thing when I was sitting there. I was like, I love this opening. This opening is phenomenal. If you drag me into another Blood and Honey scenario, I'm going to kill you.
Well, the witch also started with a little animated opening.
And it was a phenomenal animated opening. And then I got a whole bunch of shit. This, however, the opening was also fantastic, but then it morphed into something that was equally
animated opening to tell you about Cole Sprouse's the creature character, basically how he died and why he's where he is.
His backstory.
Yes, all quickly through animation, and it felt very, very Tim Burton, that opening scene.
100% it did. It was great.
And then we jumped to the 80s because what better place to go than the 80s?
And it starts out immediately with her in a bathroom.
And you get the 80s music, the 80s soundtrack. I don't remember what it was that song kicked off, but I was like, all right, I'm in now.
He's like, I'm already in. He goes, soundtrack has me. And it was her getting ready to go out for a night.
Oh, yeah. She was ratting her hair and spraying the hairspray.
And trying to crimp it. And then pieces of it were burning off in the crimper. All of this is accurate. Historically accurate for the movie, just so we're clear. Yeah. Except it would have been more accurate if it had been Aquanet, but I don't think you can actually purchase that anymore.
Well, can you really purchase the
White
whatever?
Rain?
Yeah,
you can get White Rain.
Oh, okay.
You just got to go to the dollar store.
Okay. I didn't know. I don't have enough hair on my head to even think about using hairspray.
I mean, right down to the spiral perm type hairstyle. She had it exactly what you would see.
Lisa, played by Catherine Newton, her character, she's kind of an odd one out. Something happened. She had a home invasion. Her mom was murdered. So now she has a stepmom and a stepsister. Her stepsister's taken her to a party. And it all goes bad.
One of the things that I
An
really
80s movie does.
Yes. But one of the things I really appreciated about this movie was the sister. And the fact that she falls into the 80s trope.
She's the cheerleader.
She's the cheerleader. But instead of being a bitchy cheerleader, she is exceptionally nice. She genuinely is trying to be kind to her sister. She's trying to include her.
Yeah.
She calls her mom on her bullshit. They flipped the script in that regard. She wouldn't be the one who's going to go run into the field with her high heels on and die. Even though she should, everything else fits that narrative. They don't do that.
And her friends are the stereotypical 80s cheerleader. They're the ones that they're too good for everybody else. And they don't like Lisa and everything. So they're that side. After these bad, take her to a party and someone she gets a little,
They say it's PCP.
Yeah.
Somebody has
drugged a drink.
Drugged a drink.
And someone tries to take advantage of her, and she gets away and ends up in the cemetery that she likes to go to and makes a wish during a storm, lightning storm. And guess what? Cole Sprouse comes back from the dead after hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yes.
As this creature They just call him the creature.
They call him the creature, but his last name is something Frankenstein.
Yes, because she was making little wax rubbings.
Yeah, she goes and does wax rubbings in what is considered the bachelor cemetery.
This is where I wanted more from the movie. Like, I wanted more of, like, the relationship with them. Like, she kept locking him in the closet at night so the parents didn't see. And, you know, he's missing an ear, missing a hand, and all. He can't talk. So he just he's kind of like a sad puppy for a bit of like.
And they do, this is, yes, the introduction of him initially, first of all, I really think she probably would have freaked out a little bit more. That's number one.
Yeah.
But we're going with 80s movie. It's fine. She lives in a weird world. She watched her mom get murdered. It's okay. They did a good job of transforming him in terms of when he came back to when the movie ends.
Yes.
But I have issues with it.
The transformation piece, I liked.
I'm fine with it. But I'm and this is not going to make any sense until you see the movie. I'm very confused. I felt like I took a nap or got up and went to the bathroom and missed a whole section of why in the hell did they determine that the tanning bed would make everything work?
Because she got electrocuted from it earlier.
I know, but why does that work?
So she just assumed the Frankenstein lightning electrocution. So it ends up they kill her stepmom and he cuts off stepmom's ear. He's missing an ear and she works at a
psych ward. She's a nurse at a psych ward.
No. Lisa works at
she is she's a seamstress.
There you go.
So she works at like a dry cleaner repair place.
Yeah. So she sews the ear on and then that's when she has the thought of like, oh, maybe if we put him in this tanning bed, because, you know, Frankenstein, you got to have the electricity.
He'll be able to hear because he can't hear.
And guess what? It worked. Ta-da!
And they have a tanning bed at their house because the cheerleader stepsister does pageants. Yeah. And she won it in the Miss Tropicana Hawaii pageant.
Lisa used it and got electrocuted. So
on
of course,
party.
I'm automatically going to put two and two together. I'm like, what if we use the tanning bed? We'll electrocute you and your ear will work.
We did skip over something really big. Okay? I'm all for art. I'm all for the mixing of certain things. However, I don't like interpretive dance. I don't do meditation because it just, meh. The scene where she gets drugged and comes and goes to bed.
Oh, in her dream sequence?
Yes.
I loved it.
If they had continued it for more than one thing, sure.
Okay. I can see that.
It didn't fit with the rest of the movie. If they had determined, okay, this is a dream sequence, and now we're going to introduce, like, maybe she dreams about him coming back from the dead or anything. Yes. Or if, in the next sequence, when she goes to bed, boom, we go back to it. Great. Then it's a thing throughout. But instead it was like, hi, we're going to try to be arty and make this something it's not. And they never returned to it.
That's fair. Like adding some of that artsiness throughout the film a little bit more. Instead of, here's a scene. This is the only time you're going to see it.
Like campy. Ooh, horror, campy. We're now an art film. Campy. Super campy.
One of my complaints was the murders of these people just seem to go really quickly. Like, oh, we sewed an ear on. We got it to work. Now let's get a hand quickly.
You also need to know that the trope through the whole movie is I can't die until I have sex. I will not die a virgin.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's here's the guy I like. Here's the guy I want to be the first. Again, traditional 80s.
He's the cool guy. He wears the leather jacket and seems like he's into like poetry and the music that I like The Cure and everything else. And when she mentions The Cure, he gets excited like she's going to fix his hand. She's like, no, not that.
It's like a band.
They'll fix your emotions.
They can fix you emotionally, not physically. And let's be clear, The Cure has never fixed anyone emotionally.
Maybe brought him down a little.
Started saying unless they were real happy. They were on uppers. They needed to bring it down.
But yeah, I wanted more of the trying to piece him
Yes.
together, or
And-
trying to figure out what they need to do to piece him together.
Agreed.
It did happen.
That's what
fast.
I said. It felt like I got up and went to the bathroom and missed an entire segment that was going to explain how, first of all, they decided they were going to do this. And
he quickly
I know,
killed her.
I know.
And she was supposed to be out of town, so it kind of worked. We got a few days to work with this.
Right. So the the stepmom hits her, which then prompts him to come out of the closet and clonk her on the head.
Yes.
And then she dies.
With a
sewing machine.
Sewing machine. That's right.
So that was genuinely like a, hey, I'm just trying to defend you thing. And then it becomes more.
They get the hand from the kid who basically tries to rape her.
Right.
And that sequence was kind of, the sequences were hilarious, especially the final piece that they got.
Because she makes this whole, she makes this whole confession to him about how she knows their time is coming up, but she's not going to die a virgin, and she knows who she wants.
They're going to get caught, and she's going to go to the clinker.
The clinker.
The clinker.
And so she dresses a certain way, and then everything starts to unravel because they realize the mom is missing. They realize the kid is missing. And she goes to the guy's house that she wants to be with. And I'll add, she is wearing her sister's Miss Tri-State Halloween pageant dress.
But she looks like Madonna.
She does. Dead on Madonna.
Black kind of lacy dress, the black glasses, the hair,
If you've ever seen Like a Virgin, there you go. The cover.
That's
cover
how she was
like
dressed.
A Virgin. That's
exactly
how she's dressed.
Like that.
Even the bow.
Yep.
But they get there, and there are so many things that go wrong between point A and point B.
Well, she finds out that her stepsister is sleeping with the boy that she likes. So she's very upset. And this is probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. That besides the scene where they sing REO Speedwagon.
Oh, we are missing the best
We're
parts.
jumping around, but that's okay.
I am also going to add, there were 5 of us in the movie theater, so I did not feel too bad when I just decided to break out in song along with I Can't Fight This Feeling Any Longer.
Well, once he gets his hand back, he's a
pianist.
A pianist who died. And once he gets his hand back, they have a piano and he starts playing, and then she gets him to play music of her dad's, and it's Can't Fight This Feeling by REO Speedwagon.
And she starts singing.
And she starts singing it as he's playing. Hilarious. That's so funny. Like, there are many moments of this movie that were so funny. But like you said, a lot of it just kind of didn't completely mesh.
No.
Although I still enjoyed my time. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy the film. But there were things that could have connected, I think, a little bit better.
100%.
But anyway, when she finds out...
The other thing
Go
that
ahead.
goes along throughout the whole thing is that when he cries...
Oh, yeah, his tears apparently smell. Because he's been dead for hundreds of years.
She phrases it like a hot toilet at a carnival.
Yes. But when she finds out that stepsister's sleeping with the boy she likes, he attacks the guy with an axe and cuts off his...
But he comes up behind her as she's yelling at him. And instead, like, he has an axe, but you just see him move all the covers, and then they bring the axe down,
And you just see blood splatter.
The blood splattering everywhere on the stepsister, and like him holding himself, and he just walks off with a dick.
Yep. And then she realizes she loves him and wants to, they should be together, but then he's like, cakes her hand like he doesn't have anything. And she's like, well, there are other ways. And then he pulls it out of his pocket, hands it to her, and then it cuts to her sewing it on.
They also maybe kill a police officer in the cemetery.
Well, I don't think they killed her because I think she made something. They just throw her in the grave.
The same grave where they're putting everybody.
Yeah, all the other bodies are at.
They don't kill the stepsister.
No, because she's always been nice.
She's always been like, she's like, what are you doing? She's nice. Don't do it. She's my family.
Overall, they eventually get together, and then she dies in the tanning bed, fries her.
She fries herself.
Yes.
And leaves him a note, because that's the other thing. They're always passing notes and folding notes, the appropriate
like you did
way.
in the 80s.
The appropriate way, including like yes, no's and
yep.
all the good things. And so she says, death is only temporary, but my love for you is forever.
Yeah. She comes back at the end. She's all wrapped and bandaged up because she was burned
everywhere
in a fire. So like I said, overall, I enjoyed the film. There were just, I think if it could have been tightened up better or more to it, it could have been a lot better. One of two things happened. And this was smart. They knew it couldn't be a super long movie. No.
They knew that it wouldn't work that way. However, they either cut too much out or they had a good idea for a script, but they didn't. The writers went on strike and they chose to film anyway.
Tighten a few things up to kind of explain stuff a little more. I will say Cole Sprouse, he doesn't have a single piece of dialogue until the very, 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 very end.
And he does a phenomenal job.
Yes, great job, because all his reactions have to be based off of like eyes and facial expressions.
And he is heavily make-upped in a large majority of it.
Most
like
of the
there are
movie.
prosthetics on for a large, and so anything he's doing, it has to be read through his eyes, his body language. Like he does a really, really good job of communicating with not saying anything.
Yes, and each time he gets electrocuted in the tanning bed, he becomes more back to his human self.
Yeah.
More than the monster he was, or the creature, I guess, as he's called. I know we jumped all over the place there, but that's fine. There was a lot going on in this movie. Soundtrack is fantastic.
I will add that you could probably watch this movie out of order and it would make just as much sense.
It's not that it didn't make sense. It made sense.
But I'm saying none of these things have to happen in this order for it to make sense.
It was fun. I would say check it out.
Oh, no,
if you love the 80s.
I had a really good time. I laughed out loud multiple times.
Yes, I did too.
So many times. Bugs just continue to fall off of him. They don't fry in the tanning bed. Worms, centipedes.
Because he's been buried for hundreds of years.
I know, but they just randomly plop in different places.
Anything more you want to say about Lisa Frankenstein?
Lisa's whole thing was that after her mom died, she became a selective mute. And then as the movie goes on, she has 98% of the dialogue.
Oh, yes.
In the movie.
She's talking his one ear off.
Uh-huh. Talking. And she even says, wow, I haven't talked this much in years.
Yeah.
And there gets to be a point where her character development might have gone a little too off the rails too quickly.
She becomes like, quote, the bad girl you would have seen in an 80s movie, because she starts to dress differently. And then, I mean, they make comments about goth. When is this goth phase going to end?
It was just one of those things where, okay, if you want to start a character out with selective mutism, and you know this movie happens over the course of 3 to 4 days, you're not going to get to the slightly psychotic battle axe sort of attitude she has towards the end in that amount of time.
The Madonna dressing, basically rebel almost, is kind of what she was like.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a movie. They had to go quickly.
Again, this is where did I miss something?
It's fair. Well, there you go. There's Lisa Frankenstein. Well, into the show, I usually give a recommendation for someone at home. You read more books. You read books like I watch movies.
That is true.
As I'm doing hundreds of movies, you're doing hundreds of books. So you have a recommendation?
Yes. If you are a movie-going person, this series of books is going to be turned into movies. My guess is it has already been, and I haven't looked this up, has already been co-opted. Probably the screenplay has been starting to be written. It's called Fourth Wing. There's the second book out called Iron Flame. There's a lot of smut, but it's kind of like if the fun of Goblet of Fire of Harry Potter merged with the strategy and ruthlessness of Hunger Games, and then you throw in some like shitty soft porn, you'd get this series. And it is actually fantastic.
Okay.
You get dragons, you get obstacles, you get magic. You get it all.
You get it all.
You get it all.
And what's the series called again?
The first book is called Fourth Wing. The second book is called Iron Flame. I'm assuming there's a third book.
Okay. Yeah, I bug you while you read it, so.
All the freaking time. If I open a book, he starts talking to me. He can be sitting quietly and have been sitting quietly for 30 minutes, and then suddenly he needs to talk to me if I open a book.
You know, this is what I do. It's what I do. So I don't really have any recommendations. The only thing I've watched recently is one called Gods of the Deep, where it kind of meshes aliens with like H.P. Lovecraft, and it's fine, but it's not great. Let's say that. Before I go, if you're in the Cincinnati area, head out this Friday, February 16th, to go see My Bloody Valentine at the Esquire Theater at 10 o'clock. I'll have an intro for it before the movie. It's the original 1981 version. Love this movie. It's so much fun. But yes, visit our friends at the Esquire always. So that will do it for another chapter of Old Man Brad. Just snuggle up in that blanket, turn off the lights, because it's okay to be scared. We'll talk to you later, everybody.